He was a known predator, a man already flagged by the justice system as a danger to children. He was even under a court order, a legal leash specifically designed to stop him from ever hurting anyone again. And yet he did. The case of Darren Capper isn't just the story of a crime, it's the story of a terrifying crack in the very foundation of the system, meant to protect us. It exposes a failure so deep, it makes you ask a question we don't want to answer. Is our justice system actually capable of stopping dangerous people, especially when they don't fit the expected mold? What happens when the tools we rely on to monitor and control risk are made useless, not by some criminal mastermind, but by a simple glaring blind spot? This isn't just about one man's guilt. It's about a system that was warned, a system that had the power to act, and yet somehow still failed. In cases like this, it's easy to get lost in the digital evidence, to see the victims as anonymous files on a hard drive. But they aren't ghosts. They are real children, from 9 to 16 years old, whose abuse was captured in 450 indecent images. And this wasn't some passive act. This was active collection, creation, and distribution, the very actions that fuel a monstrous cycle of abuse. Every share, every download, is a new wave of trauma. The court heard a chilling detail that pulls back the curtain on this dark world. Capper was in contact with like-minded offenders, sharing this material with others. This shows it's not a crime that happens in a vacuum. It is an interconnected web of predation, where one person's actions enable and encourage another's, spinning a cycle of unimaginable suffering. Every failure to stop one link in that chain is a failure to protect a child somewhere down the line. The justice system has the immense responsibility, not just to punish, but to break that chain. And in this case, a crucial chance was missed. So how did we get here? The story really begins in 2006. Darren Capper, then 37, was convicted for possessing and distributing indecent images of children. A court in Chester gave him a 16-month prison sentence, and most importantly, issued a Sexual Offenses Prevention Order, or SOPO. A SOPO is supposed to be one of the most powerful tools in the system's arsenal. It's a set of strict rules an offender has to live by, to stop them from re-offending. For Capper, it included a clear ban on using the internet, a measure designed to cut him off from the very weapon he used to commit his crimes. For years, it might have looked like it was working. But then, in 2014, the truth surfaced. Despite the court order, Capper, now 45, and living in the Welsh town of Rhyl, had found his way back online. Between June and July of that year, police discovered he was once again accessing, creating and sharing child abuse material. He didn't even need a computer. He used 2 mobile phones, and hid his tracks with fake email accounts, a simple but devastatingly effective way to get around the rules meant to stop him. When police searched his home, they found the 450 images, and the proof he was sharing them. At Crown Court, he pleaded guilty. The judge, Philip Hughes, saw the gravity of his repeat offending, saying, "The offenses call for a substantial sentence." Capper was sentenced to 4 years in prison, which was later slightly reduced on appeal to 3 years and 4 months. He was also put on the sex offender register for life, and given a new prevention order. On paper, it looks like justice. An offender was caught, tried, and jailed. But when you learn one more detail about Capper's life, the picture becomes much darker. Here is the detail that changes everything. Darren Capper is a paraplegic, paralyzed from the chest down. He has severe mobility issues, and relies on his parents for daily care. And this one fact seems to have thrown the entire system for a loop. His case creates a paradox that our methods of supervision seem completely unprepared to handle. How do you monitor an offender who is physically trapped but can be anywhere in the world, digitally? This is the terrifying flaw. The justice system's tools are often built on physical assumptions. The idea that you can manage risk by controlling where a person goes and who they see. But Capper proved that in the 21st century, the most dangerous weapon isn't physical power, but a simple internet connection. His disability didn't stop him from committing horrific crimes. It just changed the method. He was a known risk under a court order, yet he was able to get and use internet-enabled phones to do it all again. This isn't about one probation officer slipping up. It's about a systemic blind spot. The system may have seen his physical limitations and underestimated his digital capabilities. It makes you wonder if a sexual offenses prevention order is really effective when it can be sidestepped by technology that fits in your pocket. The whole idea of community supervision is broken when the walls of a person's home are no longer a barrier to committing a crime. Darren Capper's case is a harsh lesson in the limits of how we manage offenders. The system didn't just fail to stop him. It failed to adapt to a reality that's been staring us in the face for years. The idea that a court order alone is enough to stop a determined person with a smartphone is dangerously naive. This brings us to the bigger, more alarming problem of electronic monitoring. In theory, electronic tags are the modern answer to this. They're supposed to be the fail-safe. Yet the UK's electronic monitoring system has been riddled with problems for over a decade. A scathing 2022 report from the National Audit Office found that a massive program to upgrade the technology was a failure, costing taxpayers £98 million while leaving the system dependent on old and outdated technology. But here is the most stunning part of that report. Her Majesty's Prison and Probation Service, HMPPS, doesn't have solid evidence to prove that electronic monitoring is even effective at reducing reoffending. They don't have enough good data to know if it actually works. Let that sink in. A key pillar of modern offender supervision is being used without proof that it does the one thing it's supposed to do. For offenders with disabilities, the challenges are even greater. Studies show monitoring equipment can be a physical burden, and trying to follow strict curfew rules can be nearly impossible for someone with medical emergencies or complex care needs. This puts a massive strain not just on the person, but on their families, who are often pushed into being unpaid, untrained supervisors. The system is stuck. It knows people with disabilities exist in the justice system, but it doesn't have the specific tools to manage them. An estimated 20 to 30% of offenders have learning disabilities or difficulties that make it hard for them to understand or follow the rules. Capper's case involves a physical disability, but the principle is the same. A one-size-fits-all approach to monitoring is a recipe for failure. If the system isn't built to handle the real-life circumstances of an offender, it can't hope to manage their risk. To its credit, the court did not let Capper's disability become an excuse. The judge's prison sentence sent a clear signal. A physical condition doesn't erase responsibility for your actions. But punishment isn't prevention. Capper reoffended while he was under a legal order specifically meant to prevent that exact thing from happening. The system didn't just fail. It failed at the one thing it claims to do best: managing known risks. His case leaves us with a set of urgent questions. How do we build monitoring systems that can actually handle digital-era crimes, especially when they're committed by people with complex needs? A simple internet ban is useless when the internet is in everyone's pocket. Are we giving law enforcement and probation officers the modern training and tech they need? Or are we sending them into a digital fight with an analog playbook? And what about the families who are also caregivers? They are on the front lines but often get little to no support or training on how to handle the incredible burden of supervising a monitored family member. This isn't just a question of fairness. It's a question of effectiveness. A family left to fend for themselves is a weak link in the chain of public safety. We need to move from generic orders to smarter risk-based plans. That means better assessing what an offender is capable of, both physically and digitally, and creating monitoring plans that are realistic, enforceable, and designed for the specific ways they might try to cause harm. This is a tough problem with no simple fix, but talking about it is the first step toward demanding change. If you think these conversations are important, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next analysis. And I really want to know what you think in the comments. Do you believe our current justice system is equipped to handle the complexities of modern crime, especially for offenders with unique challenges? The case of Darren Capper is more than just a disturbing true crime story. It's a warning flare. It shows us a system that is struggling to keep up with the evolution of crime itself. When a physically disabled man can sit in his own room and unleash harm across the digital world, bypassing the very legal chains meant to restrain him, it proves that our old ideas of containment are obsolete. The justice system is built on solid rules and precedent, but the nature of crime is fluid and always adapting. And when a predator can operate from their bedside, it forces all of us to ask if the walls we've built to protect society are still facing in the right direction.